Sometimes I look at my journey and I'm a little overwhelmed by just life that I experienced, right? Like, if I'm honest with you, I've been through a lot of crap. But the beautiful part about it is that, like, I've gotten through it, you know? And I'm still getting through it. Like, I realized that this whole healing process is just that, it's a process. I'm not sure if I'll ever like come to a place where I have been healed and there's nothing that ever bothers me or that I'm working on. And you know, I'm really learning to be okay with that. But when it comes to old days, the thing about this song that was so special to me was that, like, I really got a chance to kind of talk about the depths of what I was going through. So I had a lot of friendships, man, really great friendships that started out, but a lot of times when you make a decision to go on a healing journey, what happens is when people aren't going in the same direction as you, sometimes each person kind of veers, right? And what I kind of noticed is that as I began to go on my healing journey, my homies and my friends wasn't running at the same pace. And so I was tired of being depressed. I was tired of being in the same toxic situations. I was tired of the same like situationships and stuff. I just wanted to figure out myself. I wanted to become more self-aware. I wanted to stop the toxic cycles. And what I realized is that not everybody around me was trying to do the same thing, you know? And there's a point in the healing journey where you have to choose to go forward, even if others around you remain stagnant. And it's hard because that's where it's like loneliness hits you sometimes the most. And that's where you find yourself in these, almost like this place of solitude. But in that place of solitude, that's where I began to find myself. That's where I begin to know myself. That's where I begin to understand and see myself. And ultimately, you know, where I began to work on myself. So it was definitely like, you know what I'm saying, a beautiful start. And as I'm going through this journey with old days, right, like I'm talking about I'm sleeping on the floor because I had never bought a bed before. Like, I mean, yeah, I had one when I was, you know, living with my parents growing up and stuff like that. I was fortunate enough to have a bed then, but as I got into, like, out of college and stuff, I never actually bought a bed. I just slept on the floor, like, slept on the mattress. And part of it was because I was broke. You know, I didn't have any money like that. But then what I realized is that, like, I would spend money on food. I would spend money going out and doing things like that. And so if I could do that, then, you know, I could have bought a bed. But I didn't. And it was because I didn't prioritize myself. I didn't see the value in, you know, choosing myself in the simple things, the daily things. Like, I was so used to pain. I was so used to discomfort that sleeping on the floor was just a part of, I guess, a representation of what was kind of going on inside, you know. And when I first got that bed, like, I cried because I was like, wow, this is the first time I bought a bed and I'm a whole adult, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was crazy. But then as I'm getting this bed, right, I'm journaling at this point because I'm going through the healing process, and I start remembering a lot of the relationships that I lost. And man, those relationships begin to come back up because, of course, I'm in a space where, you know, it's nothing but room to grieve because a lot of the friends that I had that were distractions, they weren't there anymore. And there was one relationship in particular that I talk about in a song where, you know, I thought this was the love of my life. This was before I came out, so I was trying my best to be straight, trying not to be gay or whatever, but I really loved this person, and I tried to shoot my shot and it just didn't work out, you know. And it crushed me, not necessarily because, you know, they didn't feel the same about me or whatever, because I can't even say that they didn't, but It was just how I was treated in that process. I felt like I lost so much of myself by trying to be loved by somebody else. Like that desire to want to be chosen, that desire to want to be loved so much that a person is like, hey, I'm all for you. But you know what? I wasn't giving that to myself. And it wasn't even that, I was angry at that person for not being able to give that to me. But I realized that I was looking for something in the wrong place. I was looking for that feeling from an external source when I should have been looking inward the whole time. So old days kind of comes to a place of reconciliation because I had to get closure on my own. And old days was the written song of closure, of understanding that, hey, things didn't work out. Like I was depressed, she was depressed, and things didn't necessarily work out, but I'm not mad at you. I'm not angry, and I've chosen to choose myself. And in the process, sometimes when you have to choose you lose other people, And I took a W. I won myself, but in the process, I lost some relationships. And so Old Days is a song about grief. It's a song about letting go. It's a song about knowing how to hold people with an open hand. It's a song about memories and knowing that my intentions were good, but it just didn't always work out. And sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes we get in these relationships and we have higher expectations than we need to have. And sometimes those expectations will cause us to squeeze the life out of that relationship and we end up losing it. So Old Days is just a reminder to say, hey, for anybody out there who maybe you've lost a relationship, maybe you've tried to hold on to something that you knew that you should have been letting go. Old Days is a signal for you to know that you're not alone in the process. And to remember that choosing yourself is still making the right choice.